Oh, call the meeting order.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah, you have an addition, what was that?
It was just to talk about us being a victim in
The
that,
tree.
the tree, yep.
Tree and part. I suppose new, because it's. I'm guessing that's why Ross is here. Ah. We got that addition then. Anybody got anything else to add on the agenda? Motion for the agenda. Okay, motion been made, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, motion made and second, to approve the agenda, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. Minutes.
Talk to Jeremy.
He didn't answer, so I don't know where he's at. So.
I'll make a motion, we approve the minutes, Mayor.
Motion made to approve the minutes, or a second? Motion made and second to approve the minutes, all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign, motion carried. Yes, Joni.
Okay, here to give you guys an education on taxation. So you guys had your Board of Equalization meeting and nobody came. So at this point, it's because it's been advertised and you don't get a redo. So at this point, your valuations are just going to go to this county. And they can still come to the county and protest it if they want, and that will be advertised. Apparently Jerry Ratzlaff resigned at that meeting. So you guys don't have a city assessor.
Right.
And that's kind of what I wanted to talk to you about. I kind of have a concern with that. I've done a lot of work with the city, with the county, everything, trying to get the whole thing equalized. And it's all about fair and equal taxation. More than it's like, it kind of goes like, I don't mind paying my share taxes, but I don't want to pay your share taxes. And so what was happening so what happened is actually when JR was mayor in 2012, you can see on this sheet, we hired Vanguard to come in and reassess the whole city. And before that, what was happening is our values were just stagnant. So we had like limited taxation ability because our values didn't do anything. So for years, I would say it goes, this is what I had, but if you went back 10, 15 years beyond this, it would just be kind of that same amount. Nothing was really changing. So and what was happening was values go by market value. So what would happen, somebody would come in and purchase a new house in the city of Cando and their value would increase because it would move to market value, where someone who had been in their house for 30 years, it never moved. So this person now is paying this person's share of the taxes because their values are higher. We couldn't figure out how to do like little sections at a time or anything because then it would be so out of whack. So we hired Vanguard in 2012. It cost the city $250,000 at that time to hire them. We paid it off over, it was like 5 to 7 years. They came in, got everything, and you can see what the valuation did when we did it. We had an overall 40% increase overall. It wasn't really that was the average. Some people literally went up 300% and some stayed the same. I think there was a few that even like some of those high market value ones that sold high, but those were the ones that were technically like getting screwed basically. So now we equaled everything out. So now in the meantime, then you've hired Jerry. And you can see it since 2012, the values have gone from 1.6 million to 2.4 million. So that's all the new construction, new valuation that he's added to your city that you're able to tax for that now. Again, keeping everything fair. As one house sells in town, that whole group of houses then becomes worth that amount of money. So now again, the guy that just bought the new house isn't paying the majority of the taxes. It's all fair and equal. We went through the county and did the whole thing. There was actually a time where the county was out of whack. The county didn't have anybody assessing properly. When we hired Bonnie Good, I think that was, I want to say 15, 16, somewhere in there. She went through the whole county, got the county's values up to where they needed to be. Because I'll be honest, before that, the city of Cando was paying some of their share. I really feel like we are so like between the county and the city, which the city of Cando is 80% of our residentials, probably 90% of our commercial. I mean, it's the city of Cando holds a big part of the county overall taxes. So I really don't want to see that. Like, we've worked hard to get to this point. Jerry's kept it there. I really don't want to see this get out of whack again. The other issue you have, see that 104.97 mills that you're currently levying? That's the most you can levy. That's the max, that's the cap. You can't go any higher. So if that valuation number doesn't change for 10 years, like it wasn't before, in 10 years from now, you'll still be able to levy $254,000. And you know the costs are gonna go crazy in that time. So you've got to keep up with these valuations and I mean, you've seen with inflation what the market prices of homes are doing. I mean, you can't lose out on that. I mean, you can't lose out, and eventually you're gonna have no way to raise any more revenue in the city, and you're just gonna have to start cutting services at that point because you're at the limit, and that's the only way you can raise taxes is for that valuation number to go up. Does that make sense?
Excuse me.
Yeah.
If somebody builds something now, I mean, who's gonna go through that and decide?
Well, you need an assessor to do that.
But I mean, what if you can't get one?
So I talked to the county commissioners, and I'll be honest, assessors are impossible to find. I mean, they're just impossible. I think Amanda's tried. Jerry quit Langdon too, so Langdon's in the same boat. Pretty much all the cities. Our county assessor does everything except for the city of Cando pretty much, and there's a few townships that she doesn't do, but otherwise she does pretty much everything. She's also new. She's been at this almost a year now. She's still doesn't have her certification and has some classes left to take on how to actually value city homes. I told her, you are the most qualified person the county has at this point. And she said, well, that's a scary thought. Jerry was charging you $500 a month. It's like, that's not, I don't know. It's like the county's going to want more than $500 a month to do that.
He was gonna probably go up. His plan was that you half the town this year and then half the town next year again, just because we haven't had the town checked.
It is, and with him quitting now, that might be something you have to table, but it does need to be done. Again, that will make your valuation increase even more and give you more ability to tax, but.
He said the biggest thing is these man caves, like people turn the garages into these fancy party rooms and stuff. And he said the houses themselves don't change a lot.
Right, because I mean, you can see, so we kind of promised when we went through this whole process that just because we raise the valuation, it doesn't mean that your taxes are going to increase. So if you look at 2012, when Vanguard came, I mean, you can see in 2011, we levied $145,000, and in 2012, we levied $148,000, but look at our mill levy dropped way down. And they did the 105 rule that went into effect. I believe it was 2015 is where they capped you at 105. So that's when that happened. So I did talk to the county commissioners this morning. I think they were willing to work with you guys. I think Sherry was willing to take it on. We're going to have to pay her. We were kind of thinking a per parcel price plus a base fee type thing is what we were probably going to charge the city to do it. All the other cities in the county do have, Sherry does do it. And we do charge, we charge them all.
What do you charge the other cities? Is it a portion of the?
It's a base fee plus I think it's like $50 per parcel. And I just checked, you guys have 14, just over 1,400 parcels.
75 grand.
7,500. 7,500, is it? Is it
No,
75,000?
75,000.
Yeah, and that's not gonna work. I mean, like I said, I have to talk to her. And the problem I feel, because she's so new, I don't know, she might need help.
So we'd have to pay to hire somebody part-time.
You would. And she hasn't decided that, or she doesn't know if she does yet or not. I truly feel once she gets like some experience under her belt, she can handle it.
Have you thought of a realtor?
We've tried. Good luck. I mean, go try to hire one. Good luck.
Have you ever talked to one? Like Amy or somebody that, I mean, you just need somebody kind of knows the value of houses.
No, there's actually this Vanguard that everything's under this Vanguard now. There's a scientific formula that they figure out the values. It involves depreciation, involves the class of the house, the style of the house, the square footage of the house. So it's not, and you'll know, if you ever notice, like the taxable value compared to what a house actually sells for is not the same. Yeah, it usually is quite a bit lower.
They have to have certified.
Well, Sherry is working, she's going to get certified. If you hired somebody directly, yes, then you would have to get them certified. I think it's 180 hours certification. It takes about 2 years. I'll be honest, and I'm sure Amanda can testify to this.
We're not gonna find anybody.
McHenry County has been looking for an assessor for 2 years. Ramsey County is looking for an assessor.
Every city in the state is currently looking for an assessor and nobody can find them.
They're not, it's nobody wants to do it. Let's be like, who wants that job? So I mean, you certainly advertise, I mean, you certainly are, that's an option. I told Amanda, work with Langdon, if there's some, but I think they already decided they were gonna go.
They're
with the
going
county.
with the county.
And I think-
Everybody's doing
I think
that.
they were charging them $100 a parcel, but,
How can you afford that?
well, that's what I mean. Yeah.
No, well, we could do that. But then we're done paying for police protection. That's the only way we have enough money.
Yeah, no, like I said.
Joni, I have a question about
Yep.
your assessor. How does she get paid now and what is her obligation? Is she supposed to assess everything in the county or is it?
She is supposed to her job is to assess the county, and everything else she contracts out for. So all the townships she does and all the cities she does, she contracts out to.
You mean they pay her directly?
No, they pay the county.
They pay the county.
But
So
we're
what
gonna-
you're saying, you
But
want
we
the
would
county?
give her part of this because this is big. Yeah,
The whole state is looking for assessors, they're gonna have to come up with an alternative somehow.
They are all contracting with the county.
Yeah.
They're all doing that. And the fees that are being charged, 100 grand, 120 grand, 130 grand. I mean, this is not out of line from what any other place is doing.
They might have to just hire Joe Blow off the street. and-
Amanda, just stop and think though, if we're what are we collecting for taxes to Joni?
what
200?
now?
What are we collecting for taxes in this city property taxes?
254,000.
That's just the general fund levy is 250,000. The other, then you have your fire, and you have your other ones on top, but this is your general fund levy. Which, I mean, it also affects what if your fire department levies 5 mills and that mill remains stagnant, your fire department is gonna get the same amount of dollars 10 years from now. So it affects them too in the same capacity.
It affects everything. It affects
So I
the
mean, basically,
library.
you're keeping giving half what you're getting away from the damn assessors, what it amounts to.
We're not gonna charge you something.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, we're not.
When she mentioned
Sherry and I need to say, I
125,
think
30,000, I mean,
my only concern, and if Sherry can do it all, I don't think it's gonna cost the city a whole lot. But if she needs to hire help, you guys are gonna, I mean, then you're gonna, because we're not, then it's because of you, we have to hire help. I mean, if she can, and she didn't know yet, I mean, we kind of learned about this too, and she doesn't, frankly, I mean, she doesn't kind of know what she doesn't know at this point either, because she's only a year into it.
We get that laptop back from Jerry,
Yes.
right?
that's ours.
Yeah.
So that's got all the information in it. past
Well,
information, hopefully.
We have it all. He finished, he did this,
He's
he
not
did-
done yet.
well, he
He's
finished.
done.
Yeah, he's done, but he did, I mean, he finished the year out. And so this is a deal where this, like your Board of Equalization, that's kind of your final, that's where they're at for the year then. So now you have to like next year, but you can't you can't wait 6 months and then expect someone to pick it up and do all your
It starts in
assessing in
June.
2 months.
I mean,
Yeah.
it starts now for
Yeah.
the next year.
Yeah, but when I talked to him on Saturday, he said he had quite a few things he had to finish yet.
He must have done it then before I'm guessing he did it before the meeting.
He's done now. Yeah.
And it's fine, his numbers, and he's good, I mean, he's good at what he does, he knows what he's doing, so I'm also, because our assessor is fairly new, I don't want to damage that relationship with
Right.
him, because I want to have, he's actually been a mentor to her.
Mhm.
So I would like to kind of retain that membership. So I do feel like we're gonna come up with something, but then you're also maybe gonna have to contract some hours with Jerry.
We'll have to pay him some.
And you'll have to
If
pay
he'll
him
do it.
something, if he'll do it. I'm hoping so. So that's kind of my hope that would, you could.
He
retain
did
that.
share that he would help me and Sherry in this transition a little bit. And I said, help, that means you're not going anywhere, right? You know, and he's not gonna leave us out to dry, but he's not doing the whole job.
I mean, he also has a lot invested in getting you to where you are too. So, I mean, you don't want to see that. I've worked hard since I've been at the city, even trying to get this whole thing. And I feel we're at the point where we're as equal and as fair as we've ever been at this point. And that has to, and you'd be surprised at the sales that happen in town. I mean, there's a lot of sales that come in and, you know, it was appraised at 100,000 and it sells for 150. Yeah, there's a lot of
It's
that
still
that
going
goes
on,
on.
too.
And it's now with the housing prices, it's gonna go crazy.
It is, yeah.
Joni, are you like estimating, you know, are we talking 10 grand, 20 grand? Like, what are you?
I
kind of-
have no idea. Sherry and I need to sit down. That the commissioners wanted us to come up with like kind of a plan. And like I said, we also know we're not gonna put the city out of business either. That's not, what good would that do us either? I mean, so we're gonna sit down and come up with a plan on, I gotta figure out what she needs, if she's gonna need help or not. We thought maybe we could we tried contracting help like that too, and it didn't work. It was, I don't know, we've had, it's hard. It's a hard job to fill. We were very fortunate to get her. So I don't know what you guys want me to do. Are you interested in the county performing the services, or you want to go find your own person?
Well,
Or-
no,
The only thing, I just don't want to see it go to heck.
I think we'd be interested in county, but let's see price or, but I
Yeah.
mean, it probably is not gonna get any better anyplace else.
If you hire somebody, you're gonna have to pay them, and then and I don't think it warrants a it's not a full-time position, so now
No.
find a part-time person that, I mean, good luck, I mean, you know.
Well, like
And
I
if
said,
you find, you know, go for it, yeah,
the
absolutely.
last
go for
night,
it.
like I said, when I talked to Gary, all he said is mainly what he was gonna look for was like these man caves and stuff like that. And he said there's been some construction done.
And I
People
would
haven't
say
talked about it.
That could, yeah, and we talked about that too. I mean, I think Sherry could get there eventually, but that she probably would have to contract and help somebody to help go around. Because the problem is if you just do a little section of town and then their taxes go up, and then you do a little section of town and then there you
Well-
are again. That's why we opted to do the whole town at one time, because we were so out of whack. I don't think you're that far out of whack now.
No, we're over
You might be,
90%.
yeah, and I would say even within that, I would say you're probably 5 to 10% short of where you should be. But this, I mean, you were 40 to, I think it was almost 50% that you.
His plan was to do half the town this year and half next.
Yeah.
But you gotta go on
So
every house.
I'm kind of confused, like he wanted the new laptop, he had a plan to do that, so I don't know when this whole I'm done thing happened.
Well, he said I actually retired 6 years ago.
He did.
And, you know, I just kind of kept on with you
Yeah,
guys.
and I knew the date, I knew it was coming, and he's not gonna do it forever
And he
anyway,
wants to go
so.
help on the farm more.
And if you talk him into another year, you're still gonna be looking at the same thing a year from now. So I don't know. At some point, you guys have to have a plan of what you want to do going forward. So I don't know. Do you have-
Tony, can I ask you a question now? This is JR. Didn't we used to in the past, like Floydberg and old and his wife, didn't they they did the city assessing and they were the county assessor. So how did we get off doing, hiring our own? I can't remember how that changed.
I don't either. We were paying the city. I remember the city was paying the county though when Kristen did it too. Oh,
Yeah,
I think we got rid of her because she just wasn't doing anything. That's what it was. Nothing.
yeah, I
So it was like, what are we paying the whatever for? Because nothing was getting done. That's what it was.
But I mean, back in the day, that county assessor did assess everything in the city, even when Floyd did it. I know he did for a number of years.
And I don't know, I wasn't here when Floyd was here, but I know when Kristen was there, you were contracting and paying her quarterly. And then I think you talked Jerry into it because just nothing was getting done. And that's when the whole Vanguard and
Mhm.
honestly, nothing was getting done because we were that far out of whack.
I think that we got to figure out what the actual cost to do that is, and we're spending taxpayers' money, either the county or the city. It really doesn't matter. We just got to figure out how to get the job done and make sure that I think we should hire the county to do it. And
It's not in the county's best interest it's the same, like you said, it's the same taxpayer.
Mhm.
So it's not like, yeah.
I mean, you're just
Just need to figure out what we need to,
amount of
we
money.
don't need to make money out of it. We just need to have our costs met on what it's gonna cost us to do this job. I'm not looking to make money out of it. And we're not gonna be $75,000. It's not going, I promise you, it's not gonna be anywhere near that. But we do have to cover our costs, and Sherry and I have to sit down and figure out what's that really gonna be. I know there's a Vanguard license involved. I know the county has the software and everything that goes with it. And I think it's about a $20,000 software package that we have that does all this, but we have it anyway. So it's like, and then it's, like I said, it's the amount of, like I said, 90% of the residential parcels are in Cando. So, and the egg land is easy to evaluate. That you just have you have a company come in and do soil samples. They do an overall formula all over. She doesn't have to go to every single field and figure out so that's just an overall form. So that's easy. All the farmers are tax exempt. So there's a few in Rock, the small cities all have residential properties, and their valuations we've gotten them all up to where they needed. Most of those, like when Rock Lake went through and reassessed, most of the houses doubled their valuation.
What some cities have done to save resources and money, which I'm not saying we should do this, it's just what other people have done, is there are members of council and or the audit team that are more involved in what's happening around town. Like we talked about this morning, we kind of joked about, if you see somebody doing any renovating, you better write that down and go deal with that on the
And
office
so
side.
Annette was kind of a hound dog that way. Like, if
Was,
she
I'm just
saw
gonna
the-
be honest, she
yeah,
was a nosy little thing.
She was.
And I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
I have enough to do after hours. I'm not driving around to see who's building.
But it's kind of more like if you see your neighbor
Yeah.
hauling a bunch of stuff in there, they're doing something,
And so other towns have somebody under that portfolio, one of the council, that would be part of their thing that they would just kind of keep an eyeball out for. I mean, it's a way to save a little bit of money and resources, because then it would save a little bit, not a ton.
I mean, I think you guys do have to go through, I think you got to do an inside thing at one point too. And I think if you get through this, like let her get through the first year, she's got to get her feet under her. And like I said, she's the most qualified person we have in the county. I'm not saying she's fully qualified, but she's got 4 more classes to take, and a couple of them have to do with evaluating. She also has, like Jerry's been mentoring her, the guy that does Vanguard out of Minot, he comes up and helps her with the program and help, because there's a lot of, like, basically you have like one class of houses, and then a house in that category gets sold. So now you have to, that whole valuation of that entire class goes up a notch, basically is what happens. So it's more, it's
Does it-
it's pretty scientific.
Well, it could go down.
There isn't, yeah, it could. They generally at this point have been selling for higher.
Well, I think for now, and we just need to sit and wait and see what you kind of can get put together and
Okay,
come back.
okay. And like I said, you can't really wait 6 months because she can't start in, I mean, she's got to be doing the groundwork now.
Yeah, so,
Like you've got building permits coming in, like the ones that have come in from January to now, she'll look at those like probably this summer sometime and get those, like go assess them and get them done. But I mean, those are, for sure you have to do that stuff, all your new building.
anyway, you can know something in 2 weeks
You can try.
by the 7th.
Yeah, I'll sit down and talk to her, and I think the commissioners were on board with it, and we'll see if we can get something. Like I said, it has to be affordable for you guys too. We're just trying to cover the cost of it. So, but I just wanted you guys to understand the importance of not letting it go, not letting
Yeah,
it go.
right, I know, we
Yeah.
understand that.
Okay. Anything else?
Any questions, Jimmy?
No, not really, but my strong recommendation is that we work with the county and use the county assessor and figure out what a fair and equitable plan is. I think that's the only, we can't be goofing around looking for different assessors and
No,
that'll-
And I mean, if you would stumble on one, that's fine too. I mean, if, yeah. So I mean, I just,
maybe you could, Joe, maybe you could hire Jerry part-time to be an assistant to the county.
I don't think he's interested in that.
I think he's done.
what I gathered, Jimmy, talking to him Saturday, he's done.
Yeah, I'm hoping to just get a hold of some of his knowledge if we really need it. And some of them, the things you like, you got some big like elevators and elevator additions and stuff like that. Those are tough to us put values on, but they're huge valuations. I mean,
Well, y'all, it's England, what they just do up there, 1 million or 3
well,
million.
Senex has a big project going on up here. Like, what's that? They tore that house out at the C store.
Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah, you know, what's that? That's gonna be, I'm sure. quite a bit.
basically, they're just moving the diesel pumps over there so trucks can pull over there and they got more room to
Okay,
gas them up. I mean, it's
Okay.
not gonna be, I don't, that's what, unless it changed, that's all it's gonna
Okay.
be.
so, but now that that's a residential property that now becomes a commercial property, and you know, that's all the kind of the stuff, that's kind of the stuff that goes into all
And the
that.
last
so.
I know of, they had got permission from everybody around them. I mean, there was no issues.
I mean, the one thing you can do, like Amanda said, enforce your building permit policy. and
Do
make
commercial
sure-
people have to have a building permit?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know that Senex
Yeah.
put anything, I mean,
Yeah.
was
Try to
that,
try to enforce that the best
There
you
won't
can.
be buildings going on. I think they're just gonna move the diesel pumps.
but if you
north.
change your property in any way, our ordinances and we need to know.
Yeah.
That's the whole point.
Yeah,
I
it's-
think we already zoned that. We already got that done.
Mm,
Yep.
That came to
Remember,
council with a building permit and Derek Child
There's
signed
no-
off?
There's no building permit. They didn't build anything. But we changed, I'm sure we changed that over to commercial property.
That's not what I'm talking about. The point of the building permit is not just if they're building structure, it helps give us a clue that the valuation is going to change.
But the building, I think when I left the building permit there had to have been a structural change in order to, because like if you just reshingle your house, that's considered
Right,
maintenance. That
but
doesn't
if they
fall under it.
are moving pumps around,
They
that's
would-
a structural change
Yeah,
and there
that's
should be
that's
a building permit.
Yeah, well,
that's a
I mean, they
change of
haven't
the-
did it yet, so I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure they still have time. It's just,
They're pretty good about, I mean, you can ask, and that's the stuff you should follow up on.
That's the
but
stuff that
they're
we
pretty-
need to
they're
know.
pretty good. I mean, they're pretty good at getting permits and stuff.
Yeah.
Petition, yeah, to change it to commercial property.
pardon,
They'll have to petition to change that.
Mhm.
I think we already did,
Who's in charge of that for Legacy, like the manager there?
I imagine.
He asked me if he should come to council, and I said, yeah, come to council and explain what you wanna do.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
gonna have.
He's
to-
never been here, though, have he?
No,
Yeah, he
Yeah,
should have
but
some kind of permit.
we-
He's gonna have to get
Yeah, he
that
should,
changed.
he
too,
should
yeah.
present himself.
I think though they come with the signatures at one time, 'cause remember Hunts and that Sam. It's in Edie's old house, that old Carlson house.
I think it's a fairly complicated procedure to change something from residential to commercial.
But I thought they
don't
come and
think
did
this-
that, or they
I
talked
don't know.
about it, I don't remember, and
Yeah.
everybody around her.
It wasn't since I've been here.
I was
No,
gonna
it
say,
Yeah.
was before
Because
that.
that's a rezoning thing, so your zoning people would have to.
Right,
That's.
and I I thought they came around, either that or they just talked to everybody to make sure they would sign off on it. Maybe that's. what-
Yeah, so, okay, well, if you guys have any questions,
Okay.
I'll talk to Sherry and the commissioners just told us to come up with something, because
Okay.
they didn't know either, so, okay.
Thank you, Johnny.
Now you gotta get a hold of that other guy.
He's on here. Are you guys ready to move to him?
Yeah. John called.
Johnny, we're ready for you.
Okay, can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, good. So I'm here today to just discuss it's kind of just the last part of that conversation is building permits.
Johnny, we're kind of struggling to hear you. Is there any way you can bump up your microphone volume?
Let me
I
see what
hear
can do.
Now I don't hear him at all.
No, it isn't. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to manipulate my microphone after the fact. So maybe I'll let, if I can talk louder, does that help if I raise my voice?
Yes,
Okay,
it
good.
does.
All right. So what I'm here today is to talk about the building permit process in regards to the new hospital. And what the hospital's trying to do is that process will be a phased building permit application. And we submitted the first phase to the city already. And that's for the really basic piece. That's just the site utilities, some grading applications, and the new track and field for the high school. Okay. That application, I submitted it mostly just so that you guys could kind of get a sense of what this is going to start to look like. And then we'll be submitting 3 other permit applications over time. Now, what the plan is that these are pretty complex issues to review. And so we're suggesting that the hospital pay for a code consultant to do that review and in the city's behalf, so that we can have them, you guys do it correctly and bring the expertise into the city. So it wouldn't be any cost to the city. It would just be something that either we would pay directly or we would reimburse you, dollar for dollar for whatever cost that would occur.
Johnny, who are you going to hire to do that?
Well, right now, I gave a proposal that we talked to one firm, to Amanda. And Amanda as well has contacted another firm as well. So we're open probably to either version. Right now, the one that we talked to is the same company that Hazen did for their new hospital. Okay, and it's they are a nationally recognized firm. They do a lot of teaching of the code. And so we've worked with them in the past. And so that's our connection there. They sent a proposal off, and for the phased approach that we're asking for, their cost was roughly, I want to say 30. Sorry, guys.
So basically, Johnny, is there much difference between, because I sent you who I had researched. Is there a lot of difference between the two?
Well, when the one you sent me, and I was going to go back and I seen the resume that came with it, Amanda. I was trying to, so the price that the compensation was $38,745. That's what they're asking for the phased review that we're asking for. I'd have to talk to the firm you got, Amanda, to confirm if they're thinking it's one big review or multiple reviews, because that would change the cost of the approach.
Mayor,
So-
wouldn't it make sense for us to let Johnny decide who he wants to work with? Because we're gonna get reimbursed with it for it anyway.
Absolutely. Yeah, I don't, really got nothing to do with us.
Okay. It's just going to be, the process you currently have doesn't really recognize this process, and we just want to make sure that the city is okay and that, you know, that you guys give us permission to go this approach. I think that's one of the things I'm after. And again, we want to make sure that there's no, how can I say this, no cost impact to the city and try to minimize, the city's time as well, the best we can. There's still going to be some Amanda's time that we'll have to do to coordinate some of these efforts, but try to keep things to a minimum as possible. We can talk about, there's a lot of entities that are going to be inspecting this project outside the city too. So, I don't know if you really care about that, but, maybe it's. the simple fact is-
We obviously, Johnny, are a small enough city. We don't have a building inspector or anybody trained to do that. So whoever's gonna sign off on it, you need a professional to do that. And, we can be the pass-through entity, but we don't want any responsibility to make sure that the thing is built right. We don't have that expertise, do we, Raleigh?
No.
No, and I think, we're the hospital is more than fine to understanding that. And so we need to get a permit as a file piece for the loan application. They require that. So that's the other piece here is that, we want to make sure we get the permit. But at the same time, we want it done correctly. And, we're, as I said, we're more than willing to hire someone to do it for you guys. So if you guys are okay with that, then, I'm not sure what the next process would be. You just say you have to, do they have to have a motion or something, or is it just, what would be the next step, Amanda? I guess?
Johnny, what we had visited about on the phone, what I would like to see first is an agreement between, I don't know, the city and whoever, saying that we're not paying this bill. We need something that absolves us from financial responsibility for this other contracted party.
Okay. And I guess.
That agreement would be initiated from somebody other than us.
The hospital board, which should give us that assurance.
Right.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
I think you hire the guy you want, and the hospital board has to tell us that we're just kind of the pass-through entity. We did that a couple of times in the past, probably for
Yeah.
different projects. I can't remember what they all were, but it never cost the city any money, and we didn't spend a lot of time doing that. It was just,
Well, you take in a check and you write one out. You're done.
What did we do for Dollar General?
we just did a location building permit, and whether
Yeah,
that's built to UBC codes or anything, we don't know, and
Just-
we don't
Just
care.
the building permit. Yeah, we don't have to do anything special for them.
And the same thing happened when they did all that addition stuff. You were probably on the board, the chairman of the board, Raleigh, when they did put all those bins and stuff in for the elevator. We didn't, they had a building permit for that, and Tom, he just signed off on that, and we don't know that, the city doesn't know if those bins and those conveyors are put in there, right?
No,
Yeah, we shouldn't be signing that.
you don't. No, you don't. You just give them their building permit. It's their problem to build them to code. It's not ours. You give them a building permit and you're done. That's right.
So.
John, I had a question for you. Did you get this rat race figured out here now? My 30-hour employees here have been working about 60 hours the last couple of weeks, and they're so far behind on their city business. Now we're going to be going for another couple of weeks at this rate. And did you get everybody stopped, or who do I send the bill to?
I'm sorry about that. Unfortunately, I heard that some contractors were calling as well and creating some headaches, and I definitely want to put it, yeah. And so, and then I know Tammy had tried to call too, so what I guess what make this simple. I want to make sure that you just have one point of contact with this. Okay. And the first time we were all learning, and unfortunately we were inundating you. So we'll stop that process. And once we get this process approved that we're talking about, it'll be, there'll be very little time committed other than, you guys, once we get the code review and it's okay, issuing a building permit, that's be the end of it. Again, I apologize to Amanda for having too many calls hitting her desk and being.
Well, I mean, it was getting to be 25, 30 a day from
Yeah,
different,
that's crazy.
it's ridiculous.
I think, Johnny, that you and I have chatted enough about that I think we have a different process moving forward. And we will not be allocating as much time towards this, and it will get shot back to you if you're the lead in this case.
Yeah, and again, the other thing that's probably happening is that we're bidding the project on the street right now, Raleigh. And so, the contractors that are competing might be also trying to reach the city to find out what requirements are had. And so they're not there. There might be a simple note on the webpage too that says, please, direct back to myself or someone else with questions. I mean, because a lot of these contractors will reach out to the webpage first too. Just a thought.
Say, Johnny, now, can you explain to me what's your position in this project, or what do you do? I guess I don't know.
That's right. That's fine. I was hired by the hospital to be the owner's rep, or in technical term, a program manager. So I'm helping Tammy and Ben and my partner, Michael Curtis, go through the USDA process, getting the loan, okay? Managing, once we get that process done, which I think you've heard, we've been successful on getting the guarantee on that. And now we're going through the process of securing the construction loan, the interim financing, which we already have that lined up, and we're just filing a bunch of paperwork. That's where we're at right now. Again, a piece of the paperwork will be a permit. So that's one of the reasons we're talking to you. And I think that's one of the reasons that there's some maybe stress around making sure we get this done. Because we can't get the construction loan process completed without it. All right. My other role will be just kind of overseeing the project as it gets built. So Mortensen Construction is the general contractor on the job, and they will be building it. Fusion Architects is the architectural firm that's been hired, and I think and then they've hired us as well. There's quite a big team right now, and kind of like I guess my job is to herd the cats, and make sure that we make sure the total budget project is done, and that we're getting the right people and coordinated in the right effort.
Well, there's your answer, Amanda. I think you put it on the website that Johnny is the project manager, and this is his contact number, and that's all these questions you're getting. Let Johnny take care of it.
Hear that, Amanda? Okay.
Yeah, and then as I said, I told Amanda I'm more than willing to take the blunt of this, because I unfortunately it's going to get worse as Mortensen starts sending out advertising in the paper and doing this. It's a fairly large project, obviously, so there's a lot of interest.
Well, the girls wasn't listed to me because I told them to have them contractors call me, and I said, then I guarantee you they will not call again. But nobody ever called me.
Okay.
So the only other, based on this conversation, Amanda, is it then going to be okay to issue the, once we get the right people to sign off on it, to get the first permit done. We're looking at that not really needing to go through the code consultant because there's nothing to review. It's all site work. And the inspections that will be needed for that are going to be through more engineering and the state municipal group, as well as the other, and the only other real inspections are going to be the electrical through the state electrical. So, and it sounds like, again, you don't care, you just
No,
want to make
that's
sure.
not our business at all, but I mean, if you're, they're gonna see to it, you put the sewer and electric in right and everything, so we don't worry about that.
I'm gonna
Okay.
strongly say again, I would not advise us giving them permission until we have a signed agreement saying we're
Yes.
not financially responsible. Because we've done this with a couple of different contractors in the past with no agreement, and it bites us in the butt. So,
Okay.
and I very strongly say,
I think that the hospital
Yeah.
board, Ben can write up something to assure.
Yeah. That's, I mean, it's gotta come from the hospital.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's no problem. I know Ben's out this week, but I'll talk to Tammy tomorrow, and I'm sure we can get something written up to confirm this.
Yeah,
I mean, do you guys want to do a motion for him to start contingent on a signed agreement, or do you want to table this until the
No,
next
we
meeting?
I think you want a motion, Mayor, to.
yeah, we want a motion, get it started.
Contingent on a signed agreement.
Yeah, because once we get the agreement.
Raleigh, I'll make the motion that
Okay,
we have Johnny Watson manage the project, and we need to, we'll cooperate with them, but we need, before we can move ahead, we need to an assurance from the hospital board in writing that they're gonna cover the costs on this.
right, okay. That motion's made for a second.
Second.
All right, motion made and second into that motion. I'm not gonna try and repeat it all. So all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carried.
Thank you.
And you tell us, Amanda, when Ben sends that over, I don't even know what instrument that is, but I think it's some type of guarantee or a.
Yeah,
And I'm sure the hospital board wants to cooperate with us, and they're not
Oh, yeah.
trying to pump on off costs on
and
it.
I got a feeling their lawyers probably are lawyers, so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Gotta
that
have
is
a
true.
partner.
There's a
Okay,
lot of lawyers in town.
You got anything else, Johnny, or?
No, I'm done. Thank you so much. If you have any questions that you want to ask, I'll try to answer them if that has any value or not, but
all right, send your contact information to Amanda and she can
I
pass
have
it.
it.
Okay. All right.
We're on a first name basis, aren't we, Johnny?
we are. And we both like coffee in the morning too.
Yeah.
I can relate to that as well. So.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay, John, thank you.
Thanks, Johnny.
thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome to stay on if you want. You can pop off if you want, up to you.
Okay,
We're gonna continue on.
all right.
Probably, I went around and I had to look at the list, how many got out on the chin, but there's plenty more.
So what you're asking, if we wanna hire somebody to take them down and
Well, I mean, I'm just, how do you want me to resend the letters out from last year? to all
Well-
the ones that didn't?
should we try that one more? Can you put a little blurb in there? If you don't, we're gonna have to hire it done and you're just gonna put on your taxes, or you're gonna get the bill or something. Can you do it that way? If they're in the berm, it's ours, yeah.
And we have a few like that too.
Yeah, and that we'll have to do.
The ones I sent out were for
Private
property.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, there's probably another 40 that didn't have sent out letters last year on, plus probably 10 that didn't take them out from last year. Probably.
Maybe just resend them and.
I think we have in there where we're citing the ordinance,
Right,
but I don't think we've talked about what happens if you don't do it.
Right, we have, I think the 30 to 18 is in there.
Is
but I
it?
don't know if the partial fine.
Right.
You guys want that?
I mean, if we want to add that into the letter, we can. It's up to you guys how you want to do that.
Or if we have.
Amanda, turn the camera around so I can hear what Scott's saying.
It's up to the city council how you want to handle it. Talk to me.
No, I don't think we need to come to city council.
I mean, some will, because they may not like the way they tell, I tell
Well,
them.
guess we'll have. If they do, they do. That's what I handle with them.
Right.
I mean, if these are dead trees or diseased. or-
Oh, they're, most of them are mostly dead.
Yeah.
I mean, because I mean, they've got, you can see inside the hole. I mean,
Yeah.
it's,
Just wondered what.
I mean, some are pretty bad. So, I mean, I would have hated to see if we'd had an ice storm this summer, this winter. Really, it'd have been pretty bad. With trees coming down on power lines or something, it could have been really bad.
It's liability, it's a homeowner's liability.
Yes, yes. I would say let's send them all one more time and then
We'll go from there. That's fine. I just,
maybe say that it's gotta happen or it's gonna get hired done and you'll be paying for
right, right.
it. I don't know,
We can tack in a little blurb about that.
something like that.
So that's mostly, I guess we've got Arbor Day planned for next, the 13th at
Yeah, that's
1:30.
on our agenda here tonight,
Yep.
so May 13th, so we'll cover that right now when we're here. So
But
We got a sheet here on it, the city park.
that's the biggest thing, I suppose. Hopefully get it done without storming
You
rain.
know, the tree that got knocked over, you wanna replace that, right?
That's where we're gonna put it at. That's where we're gonna do Arbor Day at.
So we should probably get the city guys to sneak in there. I think we could scrape that whole stump is almost out of the ground. I think they could sneak in with the back bobcat and maybe.
Probably
pop
pop
that
it
out
out.
there.
Yeah, yeah. It's gonna go close anyway. We can close there, yeah. I haven't called for a little one call or anything yet, but if they do that or whatever, but
We're talking about doing this before Friday,
week from
We
Friday.
have to. Be a week from this.
a week from Friday.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing right now.
Anything else, Ross? Okay. Good. Well, we got a lot to go through here, so I think we'll move on. Next, then, we got an arbor update.
So the ARPA update is the yearly report is done. And we got some great news. Some of you already know this. We had all these restrictions on our money. It could only go to sewer and water infrastructure. All of that has went away.
Just about.
Almost, you can use anything, you can do anything with the money pertaining to city business, except you can't put it in a retirement fund. That's the one restriction. It's kind of ridiculous, but all of this runaround is now gone. We can do anything. We could buy new office chairs with it. I mean, we could do anything with it. So there's virtually no restriction on that money. We will get our
Okay, how much money is that, Amanda?
167, something like that. We'll get our second batch
83,000 a time. We got our second 83 shortly here.
this fall. So we have multiple different ways that we can do it. We can start spending the money at any point, or you can throw it at one big lump sum or whatever you want to do. I will have reporting requirements due every year. So next April, I will have a report that's very, very detailed if we start spending the money.
Oh, we could.
So we could, Raleigh, couldn't we use that on this, our RFQ sewer project, the city share that? Could we
Yes,
cover? That's probably where that should go.
and then, but we've also got a couple things maybe we need to be addressed this year, like the storm sewer and things that that won't take nothing near that much, but I mean, I think that means maybe you can use that money to get that done too, to clean and.
We will have to be very, very careful though, and I'm gonna caution you guys. Everything that we spend it on, tons of documentation. I need to know how it's categorized. I mean, it is not just hand me a stack of papers and we used our ARPA money, not the way this works. So we need to be calculated in what we use it for and document a ton.
It'll all be done through here. It's all got to be approved by the council, so nothing can be spent unless it goes through here.
Right, but it's very detailed in the
It might
documentation.
be easier if it's one lump sum.
It
5.
might, I'm just gonna caution you, it might be easier if it was one thing that you threw the lump sum on,
Yeah, we can still do that.
you know?
We got a sewer fund we can use for that storm sewer and that. We don't have to mess with that one. We might be better to leave that. Anyway,
Yeah,
use it
I
next
mean-
year when we got this big project going.
I mean, that's completely up to you guys, but if we say, oh, we could use ARPA for this and we could use ARPA for this, I just caution you that it will take a ton of time.
Yeah, that's fine. So, okay, we'll worry about that down the road then. On that RFQ sewer project, now I met on the phone with one today and that met in person with was it Apex? Is that what they're called today? Rudy talked to one the other day. More, of course, knows is an advanced A2S engineer, and did you say you might have one more? A new
Interstate
outfit out of
has
Fargo?
Interstate requested
I talked to them
information.
today.
You talked to them today. There's another one.
You said the name, you said you thought it was a new outfit out of Fargo, so.
Yeah, I don't
think there's
remember
5 of them,
The
so.
firm.
Did that other guy that was been here at all of our meetings apply to be here?
He was here today, I met with him for an hour there today, and then he brought 2 guys with him. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah, they all want, our thing was so vague, they all wanted to know a little more specific, so I kind of told them what, like these 2 blocks by the school and these other couple spots that we know we want to do.
The guy I talked to, he worked with Moore for 10 years, and now he's with this other company. Pretty nice guy,
He's out
out of Fargo.
Raleigh, who was your contact with Interstate Engineering?
What was the name of that?
Just
Cabin.
a minute, Jimmy.
Pardon?
Cabin.
Yeah.
What
No,
did you?
no, the company.
Oh, I don't remember what the company is.
Forgot it.
What did you
What
ask?
did you ask on, Jimmy?
Who was the contact that you talked to with Interstate Engineering?
I don't even know their names. There was 2 guys, they just said their name and they were off and running and I never even heard of it. They seemed like pretty nice guys. So that was, and part of this deal is now I want to know, this is gonna take probably an hour or a little better to interview any of these guys. Do we want to do this at a full council level or do we want to do it with the committee and make a recommendation?
I think that committee you have should make a recommendation,
Okay, that's what I thought.
because the rest of us really don't know, if you guys have been talking to, whoever's been talking to has got to make the recommendation.
And that's what I kind of thought we should do is just, we'll set up, well, that'll be out in June, what is it, first or second sometime, and then we'll pick a date and try and get them all in the same day, and it's gonna, maybe you can do 2 before dinner and 1 or 2 after. Because it's gonna take, probably gonna damn have to figure an hour and a half a piece. Then there's questions, you get a break to get one out and the other one in, so it's gonna take time.
Do they have to know any specifics on what we're actually gonna fix? Do they
Yes.
have-
We give them that.
Oh, they're gonna have to know that then.
Well, they'll.
Before then.
Before they come to the meeting, I mean,
Yeah.
like, I've been telling them here that the most important one right now is that going from, to the south out of town.
Yeah.
I mean, then we gotta call that like number 1, that's the most important. I mean, it's possible, because that'd be a different contractor than what's working in town, so. I mean, possible you could get it all done in 1 year, but I think it's doubtful, to be honest, you know.
Kind of how this works is they have to submit something to us in writing. And then
Yeah.
if they all turn something in, let's say we have 5, the committee can determine if they're going to interview them all, or if you pick your top 3 or whatever.
Yeah.
But
You
they-
don't have to necessarily know.
I think there's got, Raleigh,
Yep.
I think that there has to be a compelling reason to change from more engineering to, you know, if they're doing that hospital project, they're doing that, if there's somebody that's obviously better, but I don't think we should just switch horses back and forth. Interstate was our engineer for a long, long time too.
This is not switching to these guys, Jimmy. This is just for this project.
Okay,
I mean, this isn't that they're gonna be our full-time engineer. This is, we just wanted to see some figures out of them and some numbers and some ideas on this project. It was actually recommended by the state that we do this. And
okay,
we more than likely are gonna get the USDA loan onto this deal, and then it's required, so that we might as well just get it done up front.
okay. All right, very
So
good.
that's where that's at, so. So, do you have anything else on that? I mean, I don't. So,
The guy I talked to too, he said, well, looks like you're doing this right. When he saw that we were doing an RFQ and all this and what we're going about, but he said you're doing it the right way.
yeah, because we're gonna have to do it this way. I mean, it's, you know, they're gonna require it. I guess that's another thing I've told all these guys is, you gotta come up with some more funding for us. More grants. I said, not just anything, just grants. They've all got some ideas, so we'll see who pulls something together. Okay. And I imagine this city workload thing, that kind of, I think we got that taken care of, didn't we?
Mhm.
And the building permit, that'll be done, so that's kind of out of the way. Anybody else have any old business? Not, move on. Arbor Day, we've discussed, that's done. Got a couple building permits here, I see. It's,
Haley Singer and from
oh, Chelsea.
Chelsea. Yeah,
Yeah.
egress window.
So, and I guess they're both approved, so I guess we're good.
These are the types of things that they virtually take no energy from Derek Childs to do. You know, it's just a rubber stamp essentially. But by giving us this, I turn this over to our city assessor. And this directly impacts what their taxable value is. And Jerry reaches out to us probably 3-4 times a year and says, let me see all your building permits and all of that. And so, for example, I'm going to use this one as an example. Chelsea and Scott's contractor had to come and get this, and he's like, I don't understand why I have to have this. Like, there's nothing really, there's no dimensions changing, there's no, but these are the exact things that we need to see, and they don't cost us much, and we gain a wealth of information. So we need to be enforcing that our citizens need to be turning these in. And that's up to you guys if you want to continue that $30 fee that's attached to these or not. I mean, we can talk about that at a different time, but we need these. These are very important.
Okay, charges us for them.
Well, he charges us if he's doing something. I mean,
So he didn't charge us anything to do.
he signed these off and he said he might just go through that shed. That shed's on an existing platform anyway. There's really nothing for him to measure. He's maybe going to just confirm that it's on the land, but the egress window, he has nothing, so we won't. So I haven't cashed those checks. I don't know how you guys feel about that. On our website, our fee schedule says these are $30 each.
They paid him, take him.
And you take them, yeah.
Yep.
Check in,
I did have one thing, like, maybe like old business, but when the time comes and Myra comes back here and wants to get this fence approved, I want to take each council member down there so they know what this thing looks like, instead of doing it here at the council meeting. You guys, you want to come down there and look at it, because it's like, I'm sure that to go back to that garage behind my mother's, they have been driving on the same piece, a few feet of, that is actually on Myra's lot. And now whether they can build a fence in that road, you know, it's a spike fence. I don't know if you know what a spike fence is, but anyway.
Just couple neighbors.
This is Myra's way of revenge. And I mean, you guys gotta look at it. And I would like to see this thing just not stopped or anything, but delayed till Jeff is buying the whole property. Jeff's moving back to Cando, my brother.
Oh.
Yeah, you know, yeah.
Hockey
Retired.
with him.
Huh?
Play hockey with him. No, I don't.
But anyway, he's retiring and he's gonna relieve me from my mom.
He's buying your mother's place then?
Yeah,
Oh,
and he's gonna
okay.
move in with mom and yeah, he's gonna buy the whole thing. And he wants to buy Myra's too if she would, but like, I talked to a lawyer and he says that like Jeff has gotta meet with Myra, and that's the first thing you do, is you don't get into a squabble, you
Yeah.
try to hash it out before anything's done, you know. And that's why I would like to see this thing just delayed until this happens.
How many years have they been using that?
Over 70 years they've been, see, Leo Sam told him, yeah, you guys just do what you want there, and I don't know what is there a grandfather clause or?
I wonder at some point, if you've been using it as a road, so to speak, for that many years, it might become a permanent road.
Well,
Generally, what they'll tell you is who's ever paying the taxes on it owns it.
yeah, oh, yeah,
You know, and I'm sure your mother's paying the tax on that, even if somebody drives.
well.
Is Myra
no, this-
current with all of her taxes?
It's one lot, 25-foot lot, split in half.
Yes,
It took 12 and a half feet, right?
Oh, okay.
So actually, it's so crooked. And at one end, I think they're driving that road under that canopy they're driving on probably 5-6 feet of Myra's lot. In the front, they're really not driving on any, but that fence would be going right. You wouldn't even be able to get back to the garage, you know. And I was just wondering that, I read up on that spite law, you know, and it said you cannot deny, no matter whose property it is, if you've been driving on it. You know, I don't know that much about the law, but anyway, it would have to be delayed, and Jeff would have to take care of it.
Yeah.
Talk to
The hardest
them.
part is Myra's got that garage so full of stuff. What's she gonna do with that if she's?
Well, you guys got, I want each council member to come down here and look at this thing, it's really bad. I mean,
Yeah.
The rats, the skunk, Scott's seen 2 rats, I see 1 rat, you know, and it's not good. But I just wanted you to beware. I have no idea when she'll be back here, you know, one of these days, I'm sure.
Sure, well, yeah, I mean, well, because we delayed the permit for now, right? Didn't we?
Yeah, all we did is acknowledged, and we haven't approved nothing.
And she was gonna survey it.
Yeah, she was gonna have the lot surveyed.
Yeah,
It's-
surveyed.
Yeah, well, she's gonna have a survey, that's fine.
Because she
yeah.
didn't agree with how Derek marked it out.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they'll have to get together after that.
Yeah, because Derek measured and I measured, and it's about the same. And Derek's mark is at the 50-foot, and he didn't have the extra 12 and a half feet. You know, and
On
that's
your
what
mom's
they
side?
were, that's why they were pretty shook up.
Mhm.
They didn't have the extra 12.5 feet on your mom's side. Right.
Yeah, well, it's actually in Myra's law. I mean, it's her land, but it's the way it shows now, it's way over there.
Oh.
And I mean, he's got a red paint line. Well,
Oh,
that
I
got him riled up. But I just wanted to do this so we could.
When is Jeff planning on moving, Rudy?
Pardon?
When is Jeff planning on moving?
He retires July, and he's moving right away.
Where's he at now?
Pardon?
Where is he at? Where's he moving from?
He lives outside of Surrey. I was gonna say right by.
Oh, yeah, I thought he was in Minnetonka, yeah.
And he's retired. He's worked in the hospital at the air base for many years. And thank God he was working there when he had a massive heart attack 2 years ago.
Maybe he needs to get a hold of Myra sooner than. he plans on moving here like as soon as he possibly can.
Yeah, oh,
So she
yeah.
doesn't want to try to start her process if he's got, you know, if she knows that maybe he's interested in buying it. You know, then she might just stop the whole process.
Oh, yeah, yeah, I don't know.
So that would be, he might be better off getting a hold of her now before anything,
Yeah.
because
I
knowing
did talk
Myra,
to
she's
Jeff.
gonna be here
I
as soon as
told
that
Jeff
snow's
what,
gone.
what the deal was, and I said, you're gonna have to, you know, come back here and get this thing squared away.
Is she gone now?
Myra.
Pardon?
No, I just saw her today, she pulled into her apartment over there. I know she has been spending time in Minot too, so. Or Valgo or wherever the heck you're at.
Your daughter lived there.
Yeah.
We had on that same note, I think it was Saturday night. Doug Berg called me. And Godman was at it again. He was pumping water out of his backyard into that alley, trying to flood Doug's backyard. And probably got some of yours, but. And they went over and tried to talk to him. Of course, he just blew up, go crazy, you know, so I guess Doug's wife went over the same damn thing. So Doug called me, so I just called Andy, and Andy said Doug Howard over there.
And when Doug left, he said.
Yeah.
To him and said, watch.
So, and he's saying it's their fault because they got that snow pile there. Well, yeah, they do, but it's their property, you know, you can't. It's just what do you do?
And he did look at the
Yeah.
ordinance, there's nothing in the ordinance saying you can't pump to the alley.
Yeah. I know it doesn't say anything, it's just, it's
So that's-
just a
I
nice
bring
thing
that
to
up.
do, so.
I was gonna bring that up, that we maybe we can.
That's, look,
You can't purposely flood somebody else's basement to save.
No.
yours.
but anyway, we'll move on.
Yeah, sorry about that.
All right. You got everybody now, don't you?
So Raleigh and I chatted a little bit about this because I couldn't find documentation, and so he found some for me. But something more to think about after the election, but whoever is on the council, we have several different committees and organizations that we are a part of on a regular basis. We need to make sure that whoever is appointed to those committees fulfills those obligations, because that's the only bridge that we have with those organizations. So I'm going to throw this one out there because Ross is here. I'm going to use his as an example, the Shade Tree Committee. Sig is on the Shade Tree Committee, I think.
Yep. I was on last week.
Yep, you were, and how important that is, whoever is appointed to that. That's the only gateway that we have. And so somebody will call me and ask me something and I'll go, well, I haven't heard anything, So what I would like to attempt to implement is maybe after these said meetings that happen, Sig would just say a little blurb about what happened at that meeting. Because, and I'm going to pick on the Shade Tree Committee because he's here, there's internal things that happen in the Shade Tree Committee. And then we've got people calling me and asking, well, what's the city's stance on this? Case in point, last fall, we talked about buying trees outside of city. Yes, that's just an example. I'm not saying it's a problem. I'm just saying that's an example. So if we could be a little bit more cognizant, and by compiling this list, that gives me so that I know who to call Sig and say, hey, Sig, what did you learn at the Shade Tree Committee meeting? And, so that's kind of what I'm looking for. And then on that token, I would like to request that we put together a couple of different committees that we don't have. A building and property committee, so that we can talk about the needs of our properties and our buildings. And city-owned properties and buildings, yes. And then an ordinance review committee, because our ordinances need to be updated with language that reflects this timeframe.
I'm just looking at your list here too. There's a couple other ones you don't have.
There's several. I wanted to keep it, I wanted you guys to understand my idea.
Which I've been on for 2 years and I've never been called.
A lot of them are never, they don't happen.
Okay.
That's
You know.
not you want to be on.
It's gonna be harder now.
Wait after this election, I might have one for you. We'll need somebody on the library, and the Audi board.
Yep, that's another one, library and Audi, community development.
Huh?
Was that?
I said, maybe you never have those meetings, I'll get you on the library and audio board.
So that's all this is. It's just an FYI. But
I missed one here too. It was a burning pits and candles.
Oh, yeah, what's that?
okay, I'm gonna take a deep breath because I can't find everything in the ordinance book. We had a resident that came to me and asked, what are the rules pertaining to open burning in the town, fire pits, and leaves? And I said, well, let me do a little research. So I've been playing around in here, and there's not supposed to be any leaves, grass, or sticks burned in any type of fashion in the city. So if you see that happening, you got to squash that.
Well, my neighbor to the south that was started out as Sherry Wise, she did it constantly, and I told Bob and I told Dustin. They don't care.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this particular resident,
You gotta clean on all those.
which,
I think they're the most hateful thing that ever came into the city. You can't open your windows at night and they let them burn all night long. Nobody puts
Yes.
them out.
Yeah.
I put my fire pit out, but mine's different, you know, it's the wood, I just only burn wood in it, but people are burning leaves and grass in it.
How about garbage?
and garbage,
Yeah.
and
I know
that's.
people that burn garbage in there.
That's what she was bringing up. And she said, how come my health is less important than your happiness having that on your deck? And I didn't really know what to tell her because I can't find where we talk specifically about fire pits. Do they have to?
Who's Gloria complaining about?
I can guarantee you, nobody is going to police it, no matter what you do.
Well, if it's in the ordinance, they have to.
I know, but it's not gonna get done.
Well, it might.
It says no burning leaves or grass, all right?
It does.
So then Andy had, whether he wants to or not, he has to enforce it.
How many times you seen people pile?
Because then if he doesn't enforce it, then we go to the
Yes.
county and say
Commissioners.
he's not doing his job.
And that's what I told this resident. I said, I know that we don't want to waste police resources. I get that. But this is the only, we have hired the sheriff's office to enforce our ordinances. I mean, the short answer of that is that's what their job is. So you have to call the cops, and you might have to call 2, 3, 4, 5 times so that there is a record of your complaint. And then if still nothing is happening, then you bring that to council and you say, I've lodged 5 complaints with our sheriff's office and it is still happening. What's going to happen? You know, so there's this process, paper trail for that. And that's the advice I told her. I'm asking you guys, I can't find where it talks about fire pits. So some cities have very specific rules about fire pits. It has to be closed. It can only be, you know, whatever. It's something that this is one person's concern, okay? But I'm charged to bring it to you guys.
Maybe look up a couple ordinances in a couple of these towns and bring it. The one thing you got bad about going to the sheriff, he is an elected official.
Mhm.
You know, so I mean, yeah, they can lean on him, but actually they don't have much they can say. You know,
No, that's it, yeah.
really. But I mean, Andy's been pretty good about it, you know. If it's in the ordinance, you know, I think he learned a little bit, Bob was that way a little bit, you know, if it's
Yeah,
an
right.
ordinance, they gotta enforce it.
We pay them what, 50-some thousand a year?
100 and something,
Huh?
100 and something.
We
Yeah,
pay one
okay,
and
good.
1.5 salaries, I think. is what it
For
is.
the full city, yeah.
We pay a lot of money.
The whole sheriff's department.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
City sheriff, yeah, that's pretty good money.
We pay almost 180 in a year.
We pay for 2 deputies, I think is what it is. Or 2.5 deputies or something.
Well, the reason they did it, this was before I was on, I guess, was to make sure there's always a deputy in the camp. And then
Which
of
is
course,
not
we're playing on
always-
that
which is
resource
not
officer at the
always
school,
happen.
a part of that.
Yeah, and it doesn't always happen because, well, there will be a cop that's up north and there will be one south of Cando on 281 sitting there. And it's happened to me a few times because I went through Cando and had to go up towards Bisbee or Rock Lake. And there's one on that end of the county and one on that end, there's nobody in Cando. That drives me bonkers because we're
pay-
paying that much money to not.
We
have
pay
that.
13 grand a month.
So. That's my frustration with it. They don't patrol town like they do There, I know there's 2 people in town that have DUIs that are driving and they're not, they know they don't have licenses and they're not doing it. You know, so I know they're not paying attention. They're in town.
No. Well, your old fireworks permit then, I think we got that here. Same as it's been, I guess.
Yeah.
Just approve it. Yeah.
Motion to approve the fireworks for the premises.
Okay. Motion been made, is there a second?
Second,
All right, Jimmy got the second, so motion made and second to approve the fireworks permit.
That's gonna be at your place again? Sid?
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Yeah, Steve.
Do we have enough for a vote then? We got Jeremy, Jimmy and
Yeah.
Rudy. Okay.
And then with mine, so before. So opposed, same sign, then motion carried, so. Public Works, much. I think Rudy and I both told Scott not to come tonight. Don't go and get some sleep, so.
Poor
Yeah, I
guys.
talked to him, Rick, is what-
I'm sorry, I didn't know what, I was out of town this week.
The Zardo, the lifts down at the lagoon couldn't keep up. So they come up and worked on one, and the guy set it back in place. They got it going, and he didn't get it seated right, so it was up and leaking, so it probably wasn't even putting out half. So we had to have them come back up on the weekend. I think it was Saturday they came back up, so we got that in. So we had them 2 going full blast. We had our 3-inch pump over the top going, and then we had Scott or Bruce's 1.5-inch pump, and we were losing ground. So Saturday, I went down and bought another 3-inch pump, and we put that in, so both of them were running. Then what? In the Sunday quite a ways.
Yeah.
They were just staying over there putting gas. in.
Yeah, so they had to stay out there 24/7. They took turns
Mhm.
because they had to keep.
Shut it down to it.
And Friday night,
Needed to.
yeah, Friday night it alarmed, I think. something out there.
It's about 50 hours of
So they're just
overtime.
pumping into the building, that is what they're.
Yeah, we put hoses over.
Mhm.
Wow.
On that note, Bruce has some 3-inch discharge holes that I think we'll buy from him. And I said, well, you don't have a 3-inch pump? He said, no. And I said, well, why do you have suction holes and discharge holes for a 3-inch pump? He said, it's a city bought one. Nick bought this 3-inch pump, but he didn't buy hose for it. Well, they needed it, so Bruce went and bought this stuff on his own and just hooked it up and let the city use it. And he's got
That
some, and I think we should just buy it from him, because he don't have no need for it, and I think he'll sell it to us, right, you know, so. We need it for these pumps. So we were using some of his stuff out there, and then I did get a little bit of hose in Devil's Lake, but I couldn't get discharge holes, so Bruce had some, so. But I think I think he had 300 foot of discharge holes yet or something, and he had it priced pretty good compared to what it is now. He's had this for a few years, so. So I'll talk to him, or you guys can talk to him at a meeting or something. But I think we just will get it, because he's got no use for it, and we got the pumps, so. Anyway, we can move on to that, and. All right, you got some part-time help. I think you had what, 4 of them?
I have 5 applications now.
5. Who's the other one?
Yeah, I don't know their names off the top of my head.
Oh.
It doesn't really matter who they are, but I mean, the committee can do what they want, the hiring committee, but I have gotten very mixed feedback from multiple members of the council, what we're actually looking for. So the ad I placed and I ran it through Scott. I said, does this look good? And he said, yes. The ad I placed is more fashioned towards somebody learning limited aspects of the job, shadowing Scott and Bruce and doing mowing. You know, before you guys do interviews, we need to probably communicate what the job is to these applicants. And so I advertised it the way, like I said, the way I was understanding, and I ran it by Scott, but in talking to some of you, it almost sounds like you guys are interested in a seasonal person, not a part-time person. And that's a whole different thing. And these applicants deserve to know what they're applying for.
Well, no, it's like I told you, as far as what I've seen there. For now, it would probably be considered mowing, but because I don't think you've got anybody there that would be the kind that you would want here. And
I don't mean any disrespect, but I feel like that's what the interview is for.
it is, but I'm just saying what I look, I mean, that's what you guys gotta get together here and go through these 5 apps now and decide what's there, but.
So we have interviews set. If the interview committee can make it work, I scheduled Monday, 9th from 10 a.m. to 12:30. You told me that day would work for you. You
Yeah.
did.
Because I said I'd be Monday, the 9th is my only day that I could.
You guys are
Well, I
killing
guess we'll
me.
find out.
Oh, you guys are killing me. We can change
Well, we were
those.
talking later on today,
Well,
I am gone after 2.
I mean, and we can change it, but we have to know how
well,
to,
it has been pretty quiet for me. We'll see what happens.
we'll see what happened. And I don't, who was on, is it you Rudy,
These 3.
and you? And so,
You were there last time.
Hmm?
You were there when we interviewed Brett.
Yeah.
Bruce.
is that something that we schedule Scott to be involved in or
Yes,
no?
I think Scott needs to be involved
Okay,
Definitely.
because that will take him off the ground, for
for
2.5
a couple hours.
hours.
That's fine. Bruce has got plenty to do.
Okay.
For a couple hours, keep himself busy.
And there's been a few people that have asked me personally about the details of the job to pass on to somebody else. And I honestly, I said, I don't know what to tell you because I'm not sure that I understand what you guys are looking for.
But Brett was originally gonna be hired as a part-time person, period. We thought seasonal, then we decided, no, we'll run through the winter doing snow removal. and
Right,
everything.
he was gonna be,
Yeah.
full time, but then he didn't want it. So.
Yeah, and I'm almost to the point right now where I think we need that part-time person year round.
Yeah,
Because there's so much work that even if there's no mowing and they have other stuff, Scott and Bruce, there's always stuff.
Mm.
The alleys need to be trimmed. I mean, even if it's,
they're capable of it.
that's
That's why I said the thing is, to me, is open. I mean, if there's nobody in this bunch that can handle some of this other work, they can be I don't know, what would you call, you're gonna have a part-time job, and if somebody comes up and knows how to do this other stuff, they're gonna get, somebody else gonna get hired here. I mean, I think that attitude just needs to keep running. So the right person
Yeah, I
comes
think
along.
so too.
Yeah, I mean,
The
so
trouble is,
put,
you don't want somebody that you gotta go and hold their hand.
open until filled. Not,
And I can run it again. I only ran it in one paper because only running it in one paper, I did get 5 applicants. So we can do the interviews next week. And if you guys don't like any of those applicants, we can run it again. That would be my recommendation.
I don't, because I don't know that you should say, well, we'll hire you until somebody else better comes along.
Yeah,
If you
that's
need
not-
it, that ain't right either. So I mean, if they're not,
just until open until qualified applicant.
There you
and
go.
if they're not qualified, I don't think we should hire
You
them.
put them on probation too, that can cover you for the.
Absolutely.
What their abilities are.
What we did put in the ad is we would be willing to train the right applicant is what
That's fine.
I
That sounds
I
good.
posted.
Yep.
Um,
That sounds good.
So Monday at 10 a.m. is the first one and noon is the last one. So I'd be,
If he can't make it, Siggy, if you can't make it, I'll go.
Okay, all right.
Monday, I think.
10 to 12:30.
I'll go along and just listen.
we'll do it in the library.
Yeah.
Like, this is a late, afternoon.
No, 10 o'clock.
10,
Oh,
10 and.
We'll be done the last one, and so I can't make it after 2 o'clock.
oh, after.
10 to 12:30 should be done.
I got a regular.
Can you send an email out and all that?
Yep.
To remind everybody?
Yep.
Okay,
If you guys read your email, wink, wink.
I do. Every day.
Yeah. It'd be nice to have a cheat sheet to hand to each guy. Do you know how to run a chainsaw? Do you know how to do that? And if they put no on all this stuff, well, you're out of here.
Why don't you go up tomorrow and write
We could work something out, yeah.
And then she could print them out and hand them to them.
Cause you know what's gonna be done.
Yeah.
You know, you've done that.
you
What
know,
some
but, I mean,
places-
That would help us.
You bet.
doing
What
the
some
interview.
places do is they rate, so
Rate your ability.
rate your abilities. So then at the end of the interviews, you all have the applicants scored 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, or whatever it is. And that makes it easy to compare apples to apples.
And they don't always tell the truth, so.
We found that out.
But you find that out.
It don't
as soon as
take
They start
long.
working when they're on probation.
Yeah. You'll
And then
know,
that's a bad deal because then you gotta hire another guy. and-
you know,
At least you have a way of
Yeah,
removing that person that is.
Right.
yeah, but then you tell the other ones, something happens, we'll call you. or
Right.
something.
Right.
The other thing to note, just on an HR side, is this person, if we're going to be utilizing them for things other than lawn mowing, they would be added to our pool for random drug testing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they need to understand that that's part of the job if you are operating anything rated heavy equipment, which is why this is important to understand what the job is, because we have to pay to have that done. So we have to let the state know that we added another employee at this classification.
Could possibly fit some applicants out.
Well, it could. Mhm.
I think one of the questions you have to tell them, Raleigh, is can you pass the drug test? And if they say, half of them will just say no, well, then that's the end of the interview. I mean,
I still never forget when I was president of Sanix out here and our safety guy got a visit, or Jamestown come around, and he had just did a meeting in Minot for the railroad. And I can't, what the heck was the other part of it? Then they had a meeting in the morning, there was 100 and some guys there, and then he said, okay, everybody go home and have dinner, or go out and have dinner, and then, oil field workers, that's what it was. And he said, so then when you come back, we'll pee in the bottle. It was 6 or 8 guys come back after dinner. He said, that was unbelievable. Oh, you got some more training?
Before we go to that, I want to touch base with landfill and campground. Sorry. So we kind of already talked about, I must have these in the wrong order.
Yes, well, that's what I thought.
I
That's why was
apologize.
going where
I
was
have
looking.
these in the wrong order. So
Yeah.
we kind of talked about before the meeting started, we had advertised free dump days. And I think without Scott being here, but I think we've decided that we're gonna put that off a week,
yeah, we better,
1 week or 2 weeks.
one.
Well, that's Mother's Day, does that matter?
Well,
Your Friday.
This is
Oh,
Mother's
this
Day.
Friday, Mother's
Yep.
Day,
Yeah.
that's right, yeah.
So the 14th and Saturday, the 14th and 15th.
Saturday, 14th and the 15th.
Just Friday the 13th.
And-
next week.
Yeah.
Weather permitting.
Weather permitting. Mhm. And I did put that in the ad. Not related to any motions, but do you guys like the ad? Kathy designed that. We're trying to get logo awareness out there. We're trying to use our logo more. And I think she did a pretty good job. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, side note. And then
how much,
the dump days one. And then on that token, talking about the campground. So we have to kind of, people are starting to call, when does our campground open and all of that? Are we still kind of sitting on that for a little while?
Well, it's just out there now. We walked, that's why I just locked it out and forgot about the meeting.
Oh, whoops.
And we were running around the whole, it's nice and dry out there.
Nice and dry.
Yeah.
So they can open that. We need
The
to
biggest thing is the water.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be done with that.
It's supposed to be 60 tomorrow, the next week's in
I
the
don't-
50s.
I think.
I don't know if it will get cold.
No, I think they can charge that up anytime now. I don't think they'll ever freeze.
Those lines are all blue,
Yeah.
That's all.
It should be, they're supposed to be, so I mean, they shouldn't freeze it anymore. I mean, shouldn't have to worry, so.
Okay.
Tell them to charge it.
I'll start posting that we have that available. And then on the same token, we need to talk about the pavilion. So we have this event that's happening. I've been trying to get bids, estimates on taking down that pavilion. Can't get anybody to call me back. This is something that's supposed to have been done years ago and it's not. So if we can't get anybody to take it down before this event, we need to somehow barricade it.
The fire department probably love to have a training on that.
You
I didn't know that
They-
I thought there was guys that were interested in tearing it down
Yeah,
for the
I,
lumber.
well, I don't know about that. That's
There's some
news to
nice
me.
lumber in
You
there.
bet it would be.
Well,
Probably
there's-
some 40 foot.
there's that one window, that's on the west side is laying on the ground. I don't know how much water's gotten in there now or anything. don't
I
know
said
how
the
much
wrong
better.
thing. I'm sorry. I wrote the wrong thing. What I'm talking about is the grandstands. I'm sorry. I mixed it up. I'm talking about the grandstands. Yeah, that's a completely different thing. I'm so sorry.
That's the National Guard that's gonna take that. down.
Yeah.
And I
So,
tried to call down there and I can, nobody talked to me or answer anything. That unit that was gonna do that is no longer active.
They have the equipment.
I don't even know if they have the equipment anymore.
Well, they're over by the cove now. They have a training site over by,
Oh.
before you get to the cove.
the lady from My Tie is supposed to be getting me a bid whenever it dries out and she can actually go out there. So I'm gonna start poking her.
Tell her she can go now.
It's dry.
Ask Lynn.
No, you never
Well-
get them to come up and do that.
I did not ask Lynn. I never think about that
They're
person.
training all the time.
Lynn
People
Bell.
come from all over the United States.
And what about, I also have been trying to get a hold of,
Midland excavator.
yes, that one. And I can't get anybody to call
I
me
don't
back.
think they would never touch
They
that
have to
one.
do that.
They would never touch that.
Okay,
It's
You
not
almost
their
need,
age
you
anymore.
almost need an explosives guy to do something like that, I think.
so what's,
Well,
what's,
maybe, we're still waiting to see if they're gonna do this elevator, see, if we were gonna, they wanna haul us out here and dump it and then burn it, and when Jimmy and I talked to him, we figured we'd get at least 2 houses torn down for that, you know?
yeah,
So-
but we can't. I'm sorry to interrupt. We can't allow them to burn in our landfill. There is a significant issue with that. We'd have to submit a permit to the Department of Health. And then we would be certifying what's in that fire, which we do not want to do.
Be going in the burn pit, I don't think you got any issues with that.
We have to get permission to burn. It's against the Department of Health.
Even so when they do the burning. and the
Yes,
haul.
it's a whole application. We have to get permission essentially. We have to know what we're burning, how much we're burning, when we're burning. We are not in, that's my personal opinion, not in the position to let somebody put whatever they want in there and burn it under our name.
Well, it's just wood. So.
The
elevators
city
made
would
out.
have to apply for a permit and Scott doesn't want to have anything to do with that.
Is there any private farmer?
What
that
do
can
you
burn
mean?
it up?
He does when it burns.
Hush.
He applies for the permits when he's gonna burn, so
Mhm.
they're either that or they're doing it illegal, so.
They're applying for
That's
it
not-
very specifically though. I mean,
No, just any farmer, I mean.
It'd be no different than him writing down trees and.
It's very different.
We've burned several buildings.
yeah, how recently?
Didn't they just tear one down last year?
We did not, I didn't know anything about tearing down a building last year. I've been here for a year and a
Oh,
half.
That one went out to Teddy's, bro.
Teddy probably.
I'm telling you, we have to get permission from the Department of Health.
He sent in the business.
That's different. That land has changed.
Oh, yeah, okay.
That deal's done, yeah.
That's right.
Done.
I forgot, sorry.
Jeez.
Didn't want to bring that up.
Oh,
So having, relating to that grandstands, I also am understanding when I talked to Scott about it, that there's material in there. We don't have room to dispose of it on our property. So
Would the
we,
plazas take the concrete, do crushed concrete? I know Australia used to
I
crush
think the trouble with
concrete.
that is what somebody said,
Rebar.
there's so damn much rebar in it,
Mhm.
it'd be just, you'd down have to jackhammer it all apart. I mean, it's just not gonna come apart.
The only thing you can trust stuff is with no
It
rebar.
would take a giant ball with one of them wrecking balls to do this thing, if you do it
Yeah.
right. You know.
Even then, there's a lot of hang on that
Oh,
rebar.
yeah.
So,
Or, yeah, jackhammer on the head.
it doesn't really sound like, this might not be accomplished by the time we have this large event.
I guarantee you it won't be.
So we need to talk about how we're gonna barricade it.
There
what we're
was,
gonna do.
there was signs that were supposed to be ordered a long time ago. And I don't know if Nick ever put them up. out there.
Well, somebody's breaking and no trespassing on the front of it. When I was out there today, it's about half wore off.
And there was supposed to be like little fence, some type of fence thing, so you can't go up on it. Now, whether any of that, I haven't
Nope,
been
there's-
out there.
I was just out there now. You
Nothing
can
there.
walk up
Oh,
on
yeah.
the steps, you can walk under everywhere. Plus that power panel that was there is laying on
Oh,
the
that's,
ground.
that was
Oh, yeah.
tipped already last
Okay.
year. That's what
But
tipped for a long
What you
time.
could do, I suppose, if you absolutely had to, is just take that snow fence.
Like a orange snow fence.
Mhm. That would work for just the temporary, and
Yeah.
put signs on.
And you gotta
the
put the
snow
no trespassing signs.
Oh,
Yeah.
And put signs all over on the snow fence. You
Yeah.
know,
Can I, del-
Violators will be prostituted.
will be.
Prostituted.
can I delegate that to the guys at some point and just say they need to do it?
Yeah.
Cause
Because
it's,
Well,
that is our land.
Imagine you have to order the fence first.
or if they used
I
to
don't
put
imagine we have them.
later.
Not that
TSC
well, I
much.
wouldn't think that we would have some, I don't know how big the thing is,
Yeah,
how much
Well,
would
we'd
we
have to
even need?
measure it. I don't know.
Violators will be shot.
You step it on.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's gonna need. you're
And
gonna become
survivors will be shot again.
I don't know, maybe I'll
That's
see if
the
I
one.
get a chance, I can go out and walk around. Give you a step.
That's why you let kids run around in the store, we're gonna tell them.
But no, this pavilion is another thing. that's
It
kind of
is.
An eyesore that
It
should
is.
get down.
Again, I think we can make money.
If that's what, I mean, is that what you guys potentially want to do, is just dismantle it and sell the
We don't
materials?
just, no, you sell it and they take it.
We don't suspend.
You don't-
You
you
sell
sell
it
the
out
wood.
and they come in and do it. Give them a time frame. You have to have it out by a certain time frame. and
Yeah.
That's it.
And even that, I mean, if you're looking at July, or even that isn't gonna happen that quick.
We could start the process though.
You can start, put a bid out there.
Like for the pavilion, you mean? or-
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I know one guy out there I could get down tomorrow if you want us to. Reed Westland, he loves tear sheet apart, so.
Do we
Yeah,
want to
where's your
do,
glass for that? Right there.
you guys want to do bids, sealed bids? What do you want to do?
Well, just bids, I mean, it doesn't seal bids, it's.
I remember Derek at one time said if he could move it, he would. Well, a lot of people would move it if they could, but.
Yeah,
I don't think
if
it's
you want to move it, have at it. Do whatever you want to do.
Childs, he wanted to do it right there and fix it up and for dances and shit, but you can't do it, it's on city property.
Mhm.
Just put in there beautiful lumber and I don't know who's got a key to the thing, so
Probably
somebody.
should go out and take a look first and see.
Well,
Good,
maybe
it
that's
is.
true.
Otherwise, that's the fire department, they wanna have a train system.
Yeah,
They burn it down.
see, I'd asked
And
about,
All you
Yeah.
gotta worry about is the nails. yeah.
I'd asked about that one other time and they said they're not allowed to do that. What Dick or somebody told me that.
Maybe they gotta go through the same stuff with the state and.
Yep.
We do.
Could be.
Yeah.
Does that have shingles on it?
Yes.
Pardon?
It does have asphalt shingles?
Yeah.
Yeah.
asphalt.
Yeah.
So those asphalt shingles would have to be taken off.
Yeah,
They have to be taken off. You cannot burn those.
and there's cement underneath,
Yeah, there's a
Purlin,
pylon.
or,
Yeah.
cement columns.
Yep.
Why don't I work something up and I'll bring it to the next
Ye-
meeting?
Do you have a key for it?
I might, I'm not
The
sure.
window's open, so.
Well, you know,
Yeah.
bring a
And
lamp.
the
I
flat
just
is,
think maybe we
it's
should,
laying on the ground, it actually fell out the hinges.
maybe we should
So
look
they
in there and
picked it
make
up.
sure all that wood is water damage. and everything.
Well, if I could go out there and do that stuff, I'll see if I can walk.
Oh, it's got a padlock on
You're
I don't know.
volunteering for all sorts of
And that little
things.
shed, what is the deal with that shed? That's city property still. What is going on with that? I was out there looking at that. too. That
Oh,
wood shed.
way on the west side.
Yeah. Because they gave the other ones away, but they said that one was wrong, it
Oh.
could be moved.
That's the cities.
It'd be the cities.
Yeah.
And,
All of them were the
but
cities.
Yeah.
that needs to go to
And
either
they
moved or.
disappeared. I'm the one that got them off there.
And he disappeared.
And they disappeared.
Mark got one.
No, I was
I'll take a
told
peek.
that. when the
If I'm gonna go out there, I'll
time
just
comes,
take a
When
peek.
I
Okay,
got, I
put
brought
everything
them
out there and
down
kinda
to
see
Yeah,
what's
so I got
happening.
three things to look at.
flatbed,
Okay.
And they
I'll get you
said,
measurements.
if we don't take these back, they belong to the city of Cando. I was on the city council and the city said, yeah, you go ahead and put them on there.
Yeah, and then they said they can have them, they wanted to get rid of them, so Mark took one, Nick took one, and Don Stein got one.
Well, Don kinda ran
'Cause-
that show.
Yeah, yeah,
Well,
we let her
what,
decide who got it.
works for the Johnson's. Up by Hurricane Lake, they works there. With Dale and him, runs the warehouse guy.
Oh, the red pickup man.
Yeah. He got it.
Yeah, Well, he got one because he brought the
He used the Ford
Wrangler.
Yeah, he used the machine to load them, so he got one.
Because wasn't there like 4 or 5?
Yeah,
Yeah, and there's one left. over.
5 of
The
them.
best one.
They're
One
not
day-
much there left.
No, I was,
There's no leaks on it. I know it's
No,
sad.
not too
the
bad.
best part of this was one day they were trimming trees in my alley. And then they went down to the next alley going south, which next to Barks, some reason they're cutting through the hedge, and I said, what are you doing? Well, we gotta trim a few branches inside, so we gotta cut this hole in the hedge to drag them out of there, see? And I looked and that was the guy that leads, what was his name? I said, wasn't that amazing? I was just exactly right, so that building will fit through it,
Yeah, they
So
did
he
it
had-
at 3 in the morning.
He had Northern Plains do that for him.
That's
I
funny.
just sat and laughed at
Well,
this
he's
guy.
on the board. of
He's on the board there,
directors.
yeah. Okay, we got some training to do.
Oh, one other thing, I'm going to start the process. We set aside some money at the end of last year to talk about a campground sign. So I will start the process with getting estimates and all of that, measure it and.
I don't think you need to get us and just have the sign.
I thought we decided to
Yeah,
just do it.
yeah. Just,
We did, I mean, what I mean by estimates is what you want. So the material is gonna change, how big it is, what kind of sign you have, if it's colored, if it's, lots of variables there with how much you spend.
I think we do like that one, that's Cindy Better and Candy, they have her design it for you.
Yep. I told her that what we would probably be interested in, which Rudy had brought this up, is not just an entry sign, but something that you can change what it says. So you can say closed for the season, or, prices,
I think
or
there was plenty of money in that account.
Yes.
You don't have.
there is,
I don't
so
think you gotta,
I just have to have her work up a few designs and then you guys pick
Yeah.
from that.
you didn't have a financial. this time.
Not today.
No, all right.
We do have some training, defensive driving. The guys will get signed up when the workload lightens a bit. So that's something that I'm gonna kind of keep on my radar because that really will benefit us majorly and it's free.
Is that gonna drop some insurance?
I would think usually get a 10% down.
Yep.
Do they give you a break on insurance?
Usually 10% or so.
I know when I do it for my company, I always give you a certificate. They said they get any insurance. they get my
Yep.
mileage, yeah, I guess, but you're supposed to be able to get
I didn't
10%.
It might
Do
be,
they still
it might
do
be
that?
different. with
Yeah.
Every company's
I
still
don't know.
different, I think.
No,
Yeah,
Durf
the
isn't
Durf
gonna
is-
give us
Did they still
a
do it?
discount because we're already getting a discount.
I did
but
it a long time ago.
Our drivers will be
Does it last
refreshed and then they
forever?
can take that to their personal
Oh, is that what
insurance.
it is?
3-4 years you gotta redo it.
The other thing is the newly elected officials workshop. So the funny thing about this training is it's open to anybody. So some of you guys like Sig, I don't know, whatever, I'm making
Yeah,
this up.
whoever wants to go.
Whoever wants to go.
No.
And these are the different things that they're gonna talk about. It's a one-day thing, just something to think about. If you would maybe be interested, it would be where newly elected officials from across the state are coming to get together. The only thing is I would need to know a little bit in advance because we have to register, but it's July 14th. And so anybody that is running for city office new, I told them to put this date in their calendar. I think it should be as much as possible. People need to go to this. There's a lot of different things that go into this. So that's just for an FYI, I'll be bringing it up again closer to the time.
I did go the first year that I was elected to. I was the only one of the 3 that went.
Would be next day's the big
What?
party though, isn't it?
Everybody bitched about the same thing, no derelict houses and not do a damn thing about it.
No, not doing it.
Well, no, not about that. Derelict houses. Derelict houses was the biggest topic. Arguments were going on for hours, 2 hours.
All right, what do you got on auditor's office?
Kind of touched base on this a little bit, and I just wanted to ask your guys' opinion. Because I've been learning a lot about what the auditor's roles are. And what I'm finding is the auditor role in Cando is not what most cities do with the auditor role. Our office is operating more like a privately owned business and less like a political subdivision. So with that, I'm learning a lot about that and finding there's things in my job description because of state rules and regulations, I have to be involved in that you guys know nothing about. So I have deadlines and just lots of different things. Sig's learning more and more. He pops in and learning more and more. Raleigh too, you know, popping in and learning a little bit more about what I'm learning. So with that, my workload, and I'm taking some of it on myself because I take this role very serious. I don't want to just be minimal. So I'm advocating for our office to potentially bump up our part-time employee to 4 days a week. We're also cross-training. She's touching everything that I'm touching. And what's ending up happening is the job that I was hired to do at 4 days a week, it's not a 4 day a week job. It's absolutely not. And the more projects that we do, our office is going to get busier and busier. So I'm advocating for our deputy to put in 4 full days. Right now, she's putting in around 20 hours a week. So I would be bumping her up a day and a half, if you guys are okay with that.
So, but you're, okay, technically you're getting paid for 32 hours.
Well, and that's the other part I wanted to talk about. My hourly wage goes down the more hours I put in. However, with that being said, what I value more is to have a well-staffed office that offers all of these services every day. If we don't bump up, if we don't change how we do things in the office, there's going to be, I'm going to implement changes such as we only process payments on Monday. We only do building permits on Tuesday. We need to streamline our business a little bit. I don't want to do that. That's going to be painful. So my idea was if we could bump up our part-time hours, it would allocate time in more areas.
And she's okay with this?
Yes.
You discussed it with her?
Yes, the short answer
Held
is
your
yes.
breath for a bit.
I did.
Well, I asked her that the other day.
Mhm.
She must be fine. doing a little
Okay, but
more.
now when she's doing 32 hours a week, that's the benefit of the position, isn't it?
No,
It is not.
you go over 32. So that'd
You
be
know,
fine.
I mean, that's something you guys want to talk about. So I was hired on at a minimum of 32 hours with a full benefit package. A little bit different, but just something for you guys to talk about and think about before budget time, which is coming very soon. So in this here and now, and I think the hospital issue will start to improve as we're trying to streamline that, but we're going to have our own projects starting. We're going to be doing sewer and ARPA projects at some point here. Our workload is only going to get heavier. I'm going to be honest, I had my review. I had some really good feedback and something to work on. I want to do good in this job, so I maybe take on more than I have the ability to manage.
To accomplish, you don't have enough hours in the day.
Well, she's working about 60 hours. Right now, and that's, she wasn't hired that way. It was hired for 32, so I mean, that's
With-
Do you have a problem with?
way above.
Give Kathy more hours?
No,
I don't.
Rudy?
What's that?
Do you have a problem giving Kathy more hours?
No,
No, and see, I do it.
Do it.
As far as budget wise, we'll be okay.
It's flowing anyway.
Oh,
What about making sure the office is open at 8?
yeah.
Will that change then?
So the office is, okay, so I want to speak to that because that is a real thing. And Ross and I had a circumstance very recently. Because I'm trying to cut back on some of the things that I'm committing to. Friday was a different thing. I ended up going somewhere else, but the office is always open. It's not always staffed with a person. So we need to talk about that too. People will drop things in or they'll call and they'll say, where are you? Is the office closed? No, the office isn't closed. There's very specific wording. It is always open. Somebody can leave a note.
could
They
you
can,
work that out with your deputy auditor, that
That's-
one of you would
yeah.
always be there?
well, and that's yes. The short answer is yes. the long answer is we hired her with a lot of flexibility in her 20 hours. So I'm cross-training her, I'm feeding her everything. So therefore, she's not here when I'm not because she's used up her hours.
Well, that may
But I'm
change
just
now.
talking about like you guys, just like, is it an hour maybe that nobody's there, or that 2 hours or?
So the
Some
other
days.
day I ran to Grand Forks and I'm gonna share this. Scott was maxed out with lots of different whatever. And so our water sample got kicked back because of too many hours. It made it to Grand Forks from the mail, but it has to be processed within so many hours of taking the sample. So he needed a new sample in Grand Forks on Friday. I said, you know what? I'm tired of this darn office. It's been relentless with this hospital project.
You ran.
I ran it to Grand Forks. I was
That's a
not in
good
the
idea.
office.
That was a
I was
good
working, okay, I was working on the clock, not in the office. The cemetery is gonna start picking up. I'm not gonna be in the office. I'm gonna be at the cemetery, flagging plots, you know, just because I'm not in the office doesn't mean I'm not working. So that's kind of a caveat to answer your question. Is somebody always in the office? No. Is somebody always working? Yes.
Once we get her fully trained, is she willing to like kind of work around? I mean, I don't need to be flexible with her kids. To be flexible to where if you're gonna be out of the office for more than an hour, that she could step in.
She's not on call. So sometimes things
No,
just
but if
come
you
up.
could,
But if she's 32,
if we could get you guys back here.
If
32
she's
hours,
32 hours, that's 4 days.
And then you got 4 days, so
Yes.
you should be able to cross one day.
Yes.
and
So
make it
that's
work.
part of what I'm asking for with 20 hours. And I'm just gonna be honest, 2 full years on this job, 2 full years, full-time, you are learning. She is not fully cross-trained and she won't be fully cross-trained because I don't know it. I hit things all the time. So,
I'll make a motion. Yeah.
I'll second.
okay,
Motion made and second to bump Kathy up to 40 or 32
32?
hours a
okay.
week. And all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
And we could review this at budget time. to see
Absolutely.
If maybe we need to go full-time with both of you at 40 hours a week. We might have to look at it and see where we're at.
And that's part of why I wanted to visit with you guys about, because like I said, the way Cando functions, I'm trying to get us into functioning like a political subdivision. And it's challenging. So that's that. And then on the flip side,
We don't want to do politics.
I know, right? Darn politicians. Oh,
Excuse me.
the second request is office housekeeping, and I want to speak to this just very briefly. Joni had a housekeeper that she hired to come in and clean the office, the library, the restrooms, all the entrance to the building, glass and all that. Annette did it herself. I've been doing it. I can't anymore. I don't have time.
Who did it?
I don't know who did it. Last year, I hired somebody on a project basis where they came in and did one swoop in the library. I think we paid her a couple $100 to clean the cobwebs out of the corners and whatever. That particular person is Cassie Axman. She does other business cleaning in town. And she said she would be willing to entertain the conversation. Her rate is what it is. It's $30 an hour. What I thought this would entail would be about 1 to 2 hours every 1 to 2 weeks.
Like an hour a week. then.
An hour a week, restrooms, vacuuming, things like that.
That's back in the library. museum,
Yes.
everything.
And that's the other part that I wanted to bring to your guys' attention on part of why I want a building committee. We need to review the agreement that we have in place with the entities that are in our building. It's an issue. The building is not clean. It's really dirty and it's embarrassing for a public building. And so I thought this would be a way to kind of bridge that gap just a little bit if we paid for the cleaning person. Not that we're dusting shelves, that's not what we're doing, but restrooms and common areas. And then, okay, after COVID, right? we need to be sanitizing, we need to be doing things, doorknobs, and things like that.
You don't want to go down that basement and then walk upstairs and get that stuff in the cart.
Oh, yeah, I've been down in the basement. That's a scary, scary
You know what
place.
that is?
No.
They were, when they clean out the clinkers and the ashes, they just dump it on.
Oh.
on the
Oh, they dumped it on the
dirt
floor. huh?
Dirt floor. They got boards where you're supposed to walk.
Yeah, it's
on, but
bad.
they're so filthy down
Floats
there.
up around.
It's really bad down there. So that's just something that, not for today to discuss, but one of the reasons why I feel like it's important to have a building committee. Anyway, that's my spiel.
Oh,
So do you guys want to table that, or what do you want to do with the housekeeping? Because I'm not able to do it anymore.
We need to keep the building clean. It's a public building. We keep the Audi clean, you know,
Mhm.
they take care of that, right?
They do that, I think. I've never heard anything.
So, I guess I'd be all right hiring Gassy, or do we want to put it out on bids?
I would probably put an ad out. I just know that she's
Looking for
interested.
2 to 3 hours every 2 weeks, or hour and a half every week or something. Light duty cleaning.
Light duty.
Yeah, I'd say you should put it on.
Yeah, yeah, and see what you get, because you might get some retired lady that would like to do it. You know.
Might work cheaper.
Yeah, it's not, she's retiring.
Ross, what do you want to do? I'm gonna put a bid in?
I've already got my 6 jobs. I don't.
Okay.
You don't want a 7th or 8th or 9th?
it's not nice that sounds 7.
Well,
Probably
do
not.
that, then we'll pay some bills. Yeah, she's not kind of small for the first part of the week or month.
Well, yeah, it's only May 3rd.
That's right.
So say you're kind of small for that.
Motion to approve the bills as written.
Motion been made and second to pay the bills. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I do the same deal they last week. No.
No.
Well, I just wondered, like Peterson septic, there was 500. That was on just the.
So Lane Peterson has a contract with us. We pay him X number of dollars in a year to do the cemetery.
That's the cemetery. He
So
said
what we
This
do,
says $500.
that's gotta be this.
what are you looking at? You're looking at the minutes. That's from last time. No, you need the last page of your
That's
package.
last.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I'm on the wrong bill.
Yep.
Sorry,
That was
sorry,
last,
sorry.
we proved them last time.
I was looking at that. That's why I was going through
That's
these.
funny.
Hey, you have last week's or last time's deal? I didn't-
I do have it. I can get it to you, not
See my
today.
deal in there? Okay.
My folder was-
Your folder isn't in there. It should be either in the
Yeah, it
top
should be
drawer or
in
the
there.
second drawer.
Write your name on it somewhere.
I
got mine right there.
Initials on here.
I have my-
Do you guys like the binders? Do you not like the binders?
No, that's all right.
Well, it's either I take them home and then I put them somewhere and I. So it ends up file 13. You know.
I just do that. That's what I do. Take them home, file 13.
File
We
13.
need it, it's at the office. So, you know, it's just, you can't keep all that paper. So.
Oh, did we adjourn?
Not yet, but has anybody got anything else?
I'll make a motion, we adjourn, and then I'm gonna hang up.
Still in there.